Yes, it is true that 2 days ago, the inter-party resistance against the new voters register, which is made up of 6 political parties, held a press conference and outlined some new revelations on the EC's decision to compile a new voters register for the 2020 general elections at all cost. And we made it clear that the Electoral Commission is not being honest with the people of this country. Yes, for some time now, you haven't seen us manifesting, holding protest actions. You've not seen us holding press conferences. That is because we were busy conducting investigations into some of the claims of the Electoral Commission. And we have come by incontrovertible evidence that shows that all the things the Electoral Commission has been telling the people of this country are false. And if care is not taken, if they are not stopped from embarking on this needless path of compiling a new voters register, they are going to compromise the 2020 elections. They are going to undermine the democracy we are enjoying. We are likely to be plunged into avoidable chaos and confusion if the EC is not stopped in its tracks from the way things are going. And so let me explain a few of the things we put out relative to the lies the Electoral Commission has been telling the people of this country. And Randy, I'm going to demonstrate to you that you should stop counting this, you should stop the countdown to the 18th April date.
It's 40,
given by
43 days to go.
Let's stop the countdown because it is not happening.
Why?
Mark today's date. Today is 5th
Are you
March.
the Electoral Commission?
I'm telling you, it is not happening. Very soon, the EC will be forced to come out to tell the nation that it is not happening. And I'm going to explain that to you.
What I know is that there are 43 days.
It is not happening. But first of all, lie number 1. Randy, you would recall that the EC, in mounting justifications for their decision to compile a new register, made the point that the current operating system, operating software, that the existing biometric management system, voter management system, runs on, is obsolete and no longer supported. So they said software is outdated, it cannot be used, and this is contained in the last press conference they held on this matter, specifically page 7. This is what they said. Quote, the software that is running on the current system, operating system, applications, and database is outdated and out of support. The Linux servers are currently Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5.8. And this, according to them, is outdated and out of support. Randy, we've done our checks. And this is coming from the website of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. The software in question is the Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5.8. And if you check the release date, it was released in 2012. And it is indicated on the website of Red Hat that it is supported for a period of 10 years, like all other operating systems, are supported by their manufacturers. And so it cannot be outdated in 2019 or 2020, as is being claimed by the Jimensa Bosman-Asare-led EC. We can only talk of it being outdated after 2022, because it was manufactured in 2012, and it is supported for a period of 10 years. And I printed a copy of that here. And so it should tell you that the Jimensa Bosman-Asare-led Electoral Commission has been lying to Ghanaians relative to this matter. Secondly, you would recall that we have expressed concerns about the limitations of time and the fact that the time left for the 2020 elections is wholly inadequate for the EC to compile a new register. We have said that if the EC had even mooted this new register idea and had commenced the processes 2 years before the election year or 1 year before the election year, we wouldn't have, been this agitated. But to seek to compile a new voters register, acquire a new biometric voter management system at this 11th hour is a recipe for chaos, because the time is wholly inadequate for that process. We don't have enough time to procure new equipment, procure a new vendor, import new equipment, train EC staff, political parties, do piloting, incorporate the challenges in the final system which will be delivered by the vendor, conduct mass registration, generate a provisional register, conduct voter exhibition, do deduplication, adjudication, and so on before we generate a final register. The EC mounted a robust defense and said they have ample time, that they can conclude their procurement processes, sign a contract with a new vendor, and ensure that by the 18th of April, we commence the registration exercise and end on the 30th of May. And so we asked them that going by this timetable, when will a final register be ready for political parties to have access to? And they told us that it will be ready on the 8th of November. They said that should give all of us, all stakeholders, cause for concern. Because from 8th November to 7th December, when we'll be going to the polls, is less than 30 days. But you know, per your own laws, that you are supposed to generate a proxy voter list, a special voter list, 30 clear days before the election day. Don't you think that this is going to create challenges for you and all stakeholders involved in the process? They parried those comments like they always do and said, no problem. Now, Randy, our concerns about the limitation of time has been further exacerbated by the facts we have discovered. The EC has undertaken a procurement exercise, procurement process, and has awarded or has actually procured a new vendor called Thales Limited. And Randy, if you look at excerpts
so they've signed the contract?
They've not signed. Yesterday I spoke with Dr. Kuboy. I listened to him on Asempa FM, a member of the entity committee, entity tender committee of the EC, and he couldn't tell me that they've signed it. I've spoken to Dr. Ayine, who is our rep, represented the minority caucus on that committee, and he also tells me that he has not seen any signed contract yet. But if you look at the request for proposal technical evaluation reports, right, it is indicated here that from the time that the EC will sign a contract with this new vendor called Thales Digital Identity Solutions, the vendor will need 84 days before they can deliver the BVR equipment for us to commence the registration.
Maybe
exercise.
in normal circumstances.
It is here.
Yeah, I'm saying.
This is the delivery schedule.
Maybe this is in normal circumstances.
It is indicated in notes. It says tender's delivery schedule after signed contracts. 8,000 BVRs, 84 days. 80,000 BVDs, 150 days. That is their delivery schedule. Note, this includes manufacturing and shipping, and this conforms to blah, blah, blah. So you realize that they are now going to manufacture the equipment and they are now going to ship. And they have asked for 84 days before they can even send the prototypes for it to get into this country, for the EC to train their staff, train political parties before we conduct a piloting exercise. Now, Randy, in 2012, when we introduced the new biometric
this is on
register,
the face of the document.
On the face of the document.
But how do you know if, in view of the time constraints, some different arrangements have not been made by the EC with the vendors?
Okay. They could only have done that after this process was concluded.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you even use the day this process was concluded, yes, and you calculate 84 days from then, yes, that takes you to the early part of June. Okay. So 18th April is not even an option.
You know, I'm raising all these issues that from experience, sometimes you could see these things written, but those are always the maximum.
The durations.
Yeah, the maximum period.
Yes.
In certain circumstances, they could work much ahead of time. They sometimes give themselves this opportunity. So maybe they've written 84.
If you're talking
they
about,
could do it in 50.
even if you use 50 days, they will still not be able to meet the 18th April deadline. That's what we are saying.
Right,
now, Randy, you would recall that in 2012, by November 2011, the Afarijan-led EC had concluded all procurement processes for the award of contract to the vendor then, STL. We signed that contract in November 2011. In February, we commenced the piloting of the system. And by March, we were done with the piloting. I have that report, excerpts of that report here as well. And we identified some operational challenges. For example, we realized that some of the machines, the battery of the machines were running out at a faster rate in some parts of the country due to the extreme weather patterns there in the north and all that. So the manufacturer had to go back and re-engineer, some of the equipment and all that. We did all that by March. Commenced mass registration in March. By May, we were done. Today, we are in March, and a contract is yet to be signed. We are yet to even receive prototypes for piloting and training. And yet, the EC is, even the original timetable, which has registration commencing on 18th April, was already problematic because based on that, a final register was going to be ready on the 8th of November. And that creates a lot of legal issues. If you look at when a proxy register, special voters register are supposed to be made ready. Now, that has been worsened by the results of the EC's own procurement processes. So what this tells us is that the 18th April commencement date that the EC has published will not materialize. And it has further shortened the time available for us to do what the EC is trying to do. That if the EC doesn't abandon this idea, we are going to run into avoidable confusion. Now again, Randy, we made a point that we have equipment, BVRs for registration, BVDs for voting. And that even though some of these equipment have challenges, the equipment could be repaired or refurbished. They could be maintained. Or, better still, the equipment could be upgraded. Most of the equipment don't have any problems. Some have. But even those which have faults, technical challenges, can either be repaired or upgraded. The EC told us that that is not the case, and that the equipment are obsolete. I'm choosing my words very carefully. Obsolete, meaning that they are outdated and not usable. In fact, on the 13th of January 2020, Boss Manasare granted an interview with Joy News, and it was published on their website. And if I can just read the relevant portion, he says, quote, "When the current Executive Commission took over in August 2018, we were made aware through a report and various correspondences with our former vendors that our equipments are obsolete and they have reached levels where they can no longer be repaired." And so we sought to probe this matter. Randy, this is the EC's own press conference. If you check page 4, the last paragraph on page 4, this is what the EC said. So quite a significant number of BVDs and BVRs cannot be repaired. But listen, the devil is in the details. For the recently ended district level elections, the Commission had to refurbish and repair BVRs and BVDs to get them ready for the district level elections. This was a labor-intensive and expensive process that spanned through several months from May 2019 to December 2019, with the Commission having to hire additional hands to get the devices ready for the district level elections. The Commission spent 2 million Ghana cedis for refurbishment. And at IPAC, we were told that this 2 million Ghana cedis was used to refurbish 1,600 BVRs and 59,000 BVDs. If you do a simple average of that, it means that they spent 33 Ghana cedis on refurbishing one. If you add 1,600 to 59,000, you get 60,600. If you divide that by 2 million, averagely, this is a rough hypothetical, analysis we are doing. It is 33 Ghana cedis per one, which is very affordable. Yet the EC turns around and tells Ghanaians that we can't even repair the machines. So we sent emails through one of our members, Wisdom Deku, a member of our ICT team, to HSB, the manufacturers of the current BVR. So you know that STL, the former vendor, was just a supplier. But the real original manufacturer is HSB based in Holland. And they have indicated here in a correspondence to us signed by their official Marcel Bougard that, quote, the current biometric voter registration kits are not obsolete. Although only a few items may need to be replaced and or refurbished. In our opinion, the notebook needs to be replaced, but items like the fingerprint scanner are very robust and still works perfectly. Randy, we sent another email to the manufacturer of the BVD, not BVR, Gyamfi Africa. And this is what they have also said. I mean, the same thing. They said they supply 72,000 DVDs. They are not obsolete. They can be refurbished or upgraded, and that they are even willing to do that upon request by the Electoral Commission. Meaning that the Electoral Commission has been lying to the people of this country that the machines are not repairable, the machines are not upgradable.
I thought the Electoral Commission rather did some analysis and gave us a cost of how much it would cost to refurbish.
I'm coming there.
Yes, and they said that if you look at how much it was going to even cost us more to refurbish rather than to acquire new ones.
And that's because, like the Dankwa Buzia Dombo people, Mr. Baku spoke about, the EC is not being principled and consistent. Because in some interviews, they indicated that the machines are not even repairable. And I've read a quote to you. Okay. And in other communication, they say that, oh, it is higher to upgrade or repair, okay, than to acquire a new one.
Okay, so what you're saying is that they've been inconsistent.
They've been inconsistent. Okay. But in regards to their position that they cannot be repaired, they have been exposed. In regards to their position that cannot be upgraded, they have been exposed. They are confusing two things. They have a correspondent
and
data.
in reference to where they say it will be more expensive, have they been exposed?
They have been exposed, big time. Right. Because they told the nation that it will cost the nation an amount of $56 million, Randy, you remember, to acquire new equipment. But it will cost us $74 million to upgrade the current system. So the difference between 74 and 56 million, $18 million, was put out there by the EC as the amount of money they will be saving the country should they acquire a new system. They said they will save $18 million. Randy, again, I refer you to their own evaluation reports. The new vendor they have procured, Thales Digital Identity Solutions, will be delivering the 8,000 BVRs and the BVDs at an amount of $70.3 million exclusive of taxes. So Ghanaians were told that, oh, acquiring a new system will only cost $56 million. But now, exclusive of taxes, we are going to pay $70 million. So that whole argument of cost saving has fallen down flat. This excludes the cost of software. If they go ahead and buy a new software, we are going to exceed $100 million. So HSB and Gyamfi Africa are telling us that what the EC is saying is preposterous. It is far cheaper to upgrade the current system than to acquire a new system. Randy, they have told us, for example, you see the BVR is a kit. It is not one machine, it is a kit made up of components. It has a printer, it has a scanner, it has a notebook, which is a laptop, it has a camera. Now the notebooks, if you look at the correspondence from HSB and HCL, the notebooks have challenges. But the scanners are robust. They are 500 PPI scanners certified by the FBI for civil identification. Robust. They don't have any problems. If we do what the EC is doing, which Mr. Bako is supporting, and we go and buy new BVR kits, what will we do to the scanners we have now? Throw them away? Because the new BVR kits you are buying from Thales includes scanners, which are also 500 PPI. Randy, you get my point? So you have scanners 500 PPI, not 40. Thousands of that. Instead of you to replace the other components which are 40, the manufacturer is willing to do that. You want to go and procure a whole new set, including the scanners you already have. Is that not a waste of the public purse? At the time, you cannot even find 35 million Ghana cedis to prepare for the corona virus outbreak. You want to spend or waste all these monies on this useless exercise? And so, Randy, the EC has been exposed. I have seen them reading correspondences from HSB and SCL, which says that, oh, the equipment are end of life. But Randy, end of life and obsolescence are not the same. When a manufacturer says that a software or an equipment is end of life, what he is talking about is that I have gotten to a state that I am no longer ready to support this software or this equipment. And so if you get technical challenges, it is your responsibility to repair. You cannot come to me. I don't have responsibility for the repair or maintenance of this equipment or software again. That is what it means. It doesn't mean that you cannot repair the equipment. What it means is that you can repair it, but you repair it at your own cost. It doesn't mean that you cannot use the system or the equipment. You can still use it. Why? The letter Zabako and the EC, has put out was dated 18th May 2018. That is when they described the existing equipment as end of life. Randy, yet I have read to you from the EC's own press conference that between May to December 2019, the equipments were repaired. And we used it for limited registration between 17 June 2019 to 7th July 2019 and registered 1.2 million Ghanaians. Machines which had been described as end of life were still able to deliver such, successful outcomes, 1.2 million Ghanaians. So end of life has got nothing to do with the fact that, it cannot be repaired, it cannot be upgraded, it cannot be used. They have been exposed big time and the correspondences are clear. Now finally, in wrapping up, in all this, Randy, nobody has been able to impugn or undermine the credibility of our data, which is the voters register itself. We are talking about equipments. We are arguing about whether or not it can be repaired or upgraded or we should acquire new ones. But that is separate and distinct from the register we have, which we all know to be credible and which the EC itself has admitted to be credible. A register we have used to deliver 5 successful elections. You understand? And so it is baffling and it is disturbing that in the face of overwhelming evidence that, number one, the voters register we have is credible, its credibility has not been undermined. And that even if we grant the EC their decision to procure new equipment, contrary to what the manufacturers are saying, that we can upgrade the existing one at a cheaper cost. Let's even grant them that opportunity to waste the public purse. Acquiring new equipment does not necessarily call for the procurement or the compilation of a new register. Because the register we have now can be ported, it can be migrated onto any new system that we procure. And so we have limited time, we don't have enough funds to support the wasteful expenditure the EC wants to do. We don't have that. The time left especially is very limited. That, Randy, we need to set up, we need to speak up. The EC must abandon this idea. We are learning that they are intending to use the current BVRs for the training of political parties and their own staff whilst they wait for the new BVRs. That will be a disaster.
Yes.
We have our sources in there. Okay. We started working with the EC even before G. Mensah was appointed. We've been in the system for a long time. We're a solid political party. Okay. We hope it is not true, because that would be preposterous.
All right.
They should just do the needful. By abandoning this idea, let us use the current system for the 2020 elections. After that, if they want to compile a new register, we will all support them.
All right.